everybody, and welcome back to Trekyards. He is Commander Cocking.
He is Captain Foley.
I am. We are. What? I don't know. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about the SS Eleos NAR 59019.
Dash
That
A.
is right.
No, that's the Titan. Sorry.
Well, it's actually the SS Eleos, and it looks like 11 because it's got an XI after.
Oh yeah,
Eleos.
he does say that, doesn't he, at the start?
Yeah. Oh, it's also on the hull. So yeah, I mean, we're talking about Beverly's ship today. I don't know if it's Beverly's ship necessarily, but Beverly's ship that she was on. So
Yes, we have 2 episodes. We might not get any more.
hey, none of this, I don't think.
Unless we have flashbacks. Which, you know, considering the implied backstory, we might just get. So we're not going to put our coins on that yet. But we'll do a more detailed look. Dave Blass, of course, has been posting things and bobs, so expect... Well, I'll say expect. I think it's fair to say something extra to come out about the Eleos. And we'll look at it then as well. It's our first reaction, which means if Dave has released stuff since filming this, we will look at that on a later date. Thanks, Dave, in advance, even though we filmed this in the past. Alright, Eleos. Medical ship. You can tell by the blue. SS. Civilian. You can tell by the no U. Thoughts about the design?
I like the design. It's a cool looking little ship.
Little?
Actually,
Yes, little.
It is little. Yeah. Some of the schematics you see of it on the panels, it actually reminds me a lot of the Andor class from FASA, which, as you know, is one of my favorite designs, especially from the top. It just looks like a very cool ship. So this is one that I really like. I wish it was a bigger ship. I wish it was like Starfleet. I don't know if it is or was or whatever, but it looks Starfleet. It does, honestly. But I wish it was a bigger design because it would have been a cool like cruiser, honestly. Much cooler than like a steam runner or, you know, something like that, I think, personally. Or the Norway class.
Bold words here.
I know.
Gosh. Alex Yeager. Leave the room.
I don't know who designed this one, but
Johnny
this is pretty great.
designed this one, Stuart.
Oh, well,
This is
go.
based on a concept art we've already looked at from about 6 years ago. But this is different somewhat, and we'll do a more direct comparison, because I'm sure there'll be something released we can then compare more directly with, etc.
Yes, we will do a detailed look, yeah.
I think that was called the Phoenix, because warp things, I think, was the logic behind it. No, but it's good. It's nice to have a familiar, yet different, yet new, yet same ship. That's a very thing that we do in Star Trek. You know, we design weird things that still fit into the mold, like the Raven, like the Saber, like, you know, these things like, oh, okay, I can see it. Versus things that like, well, that's a ship that you're telling me is Star Trek? Now, obviously, if it was missing the warp nacelles and the deflector, you'd be less inclined to think Star Trek. But that's what it has, and that's okay. And on this first shot, the first time we see it, pretty much, yeah, it's familiar, it's nice, it's tiny. I don't know if the scale makes sense given there's small windows and because it's pretty small. I guess porthole windows. I guess.
Yeah, we've kind of worked out. There's like can be no more than like 3 decks.
Yes.
When you look at the size of the shuttle that docks with it, and you know how big the shuttle is and how big the people are, and the porthole, or not the porthole, but the entryway, or the airlock, I guess you'd call it. You kind of get a feeling that the ship's not very big. As far as deck-wise goes.
And you'd think a shuttle would be taller than a deck. So it needs to have all the other stuff going on around the shuttle.
Yeah.
And obviously it's also landing on its nacelles, so even more space. But I like it. The next view, though, is in episode 2. Obviously we got, that's part of why I didn't do it last week, we have more clear views, including the bridge window dome being open, and the back with lots of glows, and the front with the same glows. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, see, that's the thing. This could scale up to be a bigger ship. Because you look at underneath those impulse engines, it looks like there could be a shuttle bay on each side. With those, looks like open doors
bigger,
almost.
It could be.
Yeah, exactly. If it was bigger. That's why I think it would be better as a bigger design. Because there's such cool details there that you could scale up. I do like all the glows, but it is misleading. It does look like those could be shuttle bays.
Well, I mean, why are the 2 middle blues blue versus shuttle bays? Or docking bays, work bays,
that's a good question, actually.
Or hangar bays. If this thing is a cargo ship, say, have 2 cargo bases there, have 2 cargo giant rooms, because they're not warp engines, probably. I mean, the bird of prey, of course, can warp with a single back element, but there's more going on than that. So I don't know why it's got that many blue glows.
I don't know either. And I wasn't even talking about the blue glows. I was talking about the
I know.
white ones.
I'm just saying then the blue glows as well, Stuart.
Yeah. And I was wrong. I guess it's the 12 because it's X11. So the question remains, how did she get this ship? Is it Federation? I guess it would be Federation, but not Starfleet.
Well, there's enough Starfleet-isms here.
There definitely is.
And, I mean, the Raven, you would still associate being maybe an old Starfleet design repurposed. That was also an SS, I believe.
Quoth the Raven. Yes, it was an SS.
Because, you know, how many civilian yards are designing stuff? I'm sure a couple. And how many Starfleet yards are designing building that don't quite work? They say, oh, we built 6 of them. We'll donate them to Alpha, Beta. Alpha, Beta says, we don't want these. We'll sell them to Jane. Jane says, I want to make a black market smuggling run with these ships. And, you know, they change hands. Because if Beverly's been on the ship for 20 years, she's been gone 20 years, it could be any amount of years, but let's say 10 years on the ship, then, you know, it would probably look quite different to how it originally was.
Well, my question is, zooming in on that bridge module, you can see at the back, you can see how big the dock is, docking port, even from the front. It looks like a slitted bridge window. Underneath it looks like another window that could also be a bridge window.
No, the middle ones, because we see the dude open the shutters.
Exactly, the blast doors come down. It's just interesting to me that it has a bridge window when I didn't think it did initially, and it does, but you definitely gets a sense of scale because of the window.
But for a small ship like this, it makes more sense. I can buy, and besides, he had it closed most of the time. It was a shutter. It was a, you know, it literally was a window if you need it.
Well, it's interesting too because where the docking port is, I thought there was a corridor that leads directly to the bridge, which would be the upper part with the slits. So it's kind of confusing a little bit.
No, the corridor goes. There's steps when they walked into the bridge. They went down some steps. So it started higher.
True too. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, so the docking port goes into the top bit, which then is that sort of briefing area, I'm guessing, and that's a corridor, I guess.
But all you see is that's the weird thing, because when they dock, you see in the first episode and the second one where they come in, and there's the hallway full of boxes, and then Riker tosses the grenade out. It's a weird layout. I don't know if it matches up internally to what will be presented externally.
I mean, you know, because there's always going to be hull. It's not just room size. So seeing the bridge window scale, the room is going to be, because the room is significantly wider than the bridge window, significantly. So that entire box at the top is the bridge box. It's just a big room, which is fine, but it is literally like a room, a top room, which is, I guess, the corridor, and then just, I guess, the bottom of the ship is where the tech has to be, you know, deflector, etc. I mean, no visible weapons, so there doesn't need to be any phaser emitters inside the ship. No torpedo launcher, as far as I can see. I mean, I can't see much. It's quite, you know, dark, but
it's an interesting design, though. I do like it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of it I do like. So,
it works well. Speaking of, though, it gets tracted. Now this on purpose to show you the bottom, and also when the Titan comes in, the scale disparity. Now, obviously, the Titan would have to be reasonable distance between the ships, otherwise it might crash into either. So all of the grains of all of the salt. But there's the bottom, Stuart.
Nothing much special about the bottom, in my opinion. Just standard plating. We've got a planetary sensor dome on the bottom.
Yep, kind of Excelsior vibe. Will also be like a differently coloured cut in, I would say. Yeah, you can see the beams. But yeah, it looks very small to the Titan, which isn't huge.
Titan's also has a crew of 500 people, which implies pretty big. Constitution class and TOS had 430.
Well, this is a lot bigger than that.
Yes.
Not that you'd think that from the window scaling, but the windows are just wrong scale. They're just giant windows.
Exactly.
Terry has said that. Exactly. They are just giant windows. Next shot is just because what's nice about this episode, it started with 2 weeks before. We actually got to see it live and do something and warp in like an average ship, and I'm kind of excited to see more of it. And I hope we get more flashbacks. But how did it feel sort of in motion doing its job? Because the rest of the episode is kind of either ultra dark or battling.
Good. Like I said, I like this design. So seeing this like coming out of warp and then cruising by the camera was nice. I love these flybys. So
You know what's funnier with this shot in particular? We know it warped out 2 seconds earlier. It almost feels like the nacelles would like start like this and move because, like Voyager, if it was a Voyager era, you can imagine they would have articulating. The way they kind of framed, you could almost... Doesn't need to, obviously, but would that have been cool if they articulated?
it would have been, I think it would have been not necessary, but would have been definitely cool.
A nice design nod. It's like, oh, that's when it was designed. I get... In that 6 months of weirdness that everyone forgot about. Yeah.
To help the subspace problems that
Turns
they were
out
having.
if you ignore it, it's the best solution.
Yes. Yep.
No, I thought it was great. And I'm sad what happened to it, but like I said, I hope we get some flashbacks. You know, seeing Crusher and Son pre the stress of, oh look, there's your daddy. You know, I would like to see some of that. But yeah, I think certainly one of the higher tier ships we've seen in Picard. It helps it was just Johnny's design from 2006, I believe. That does obviously help. But yeah, it's a unique yet familiar ship. Good job.
Let us know your thoughts down below, what you think about it. Again, do you like it? Do you love it? Let us know. We want to hear what you guys are thinking. And you can come and tell us what you're thinking live if you join our lives. We do a lot of them every week. And, we also have a lot of edited content. So make sure you're subscribed and don't forget to click the notification bell icon so you don't miss any of it. Because we want you guys to be a part of our team.
It's a good team, Stuart. It really is.
It's a good crew as well.
I mean, if you stay until the end, you'll see where you are on that crew. It's worth staying around for. But if you want to support us directly, all our stuff is free, but it's free as long as you guys help a little bit here and there. No pressure, just if you can. On Patreon, that's monthly. Join the channel using the crew perks, and that's great because, like I said, you get to be part of the crew in the graphics at the end of the show, or one time at PayPal, trekyards@hotmail.com, or super chatting on A Live, or super thanks for any video, literally any video. And we thank you in advance for all you do in advance.
That's right. Until next time, here's Commander Cockings.
He's Adam Foley. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.